Imagine waking up one day and everything you own is gone. Your business, your home, your identity, stripped away. Not because you committed a crime, not because you did anything wrong, but simply because of who you are. Now imagine millions of people sharing that same fate. And at the center of it all, one man, one twisted mind, one burning, irrational hatred that changed the course of human history forever. Today, we are going to answer one of the most disturbing questions in modern history. Why did Hitler hate the Jews? And more importantly, how did that hatred lead to the murder of 6 million innocent people? This is not just history. This is a warning. Before we dive in, here is what we are going to cover in this video. First, Hitler's early life and where his hatred began. Second, the political and social climate of Germany that fueled anti-Semitism. Third, the propaganda machine that turned hatred into policy. Fourth, how hatred became genocide, the birth of the Holocaust. And finally, the lesson this dark chapter leaves for humanity. Stay with me until the end, because the final lesson is the most important part of this entire video. Let's begin.
Part 1. Hitler's early life. Where did the hatred begin? Adolf Hitler was born on April 20th, 1889, in a small Austrian town called Braunau am Inn. His childhood was difficult. His father was strict and abusive. His mother, whom he loved deeply, died of cancer when Hitler was just 18 years old. That loss broke something inside him. After her death, Hitler moved to Vienna, the grand capital of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, with one dream. He wanted to become a great artist. He applied to the Academy of Fine Arts in Vienna. He was rejected. Twice. This rejection crushed him completely. Now, here is where things get dark. Vienna in the early 1900s was a city filled with anti-Semitic ideas. Political parties openly blamed Jews for economic problems. Newspapers published anti-Jewish propaganda daily. Street preachers blamed Jews for everything wrong in society. Hitler, a young, angry, failed artist, absorbed all of this like a sponge. He began reading extremist pamphlets. He listened to anti-Semitic politicians. He spent years homeless and bitter on the streets of Vienna.
And slowly, a poisonous idea began taking root inside his mind. He started believing that Jews were the enemy of Germany and civilization itself. But at this point, it was just a belief. It hadn't yet become a mission.
Part 2. World War I. The turning point.
When World War I began in 1914, Hitler joined the German army. For the first time in his life, he felt purpose. He served bravely. He was wounded. He received medals. And then, Germany lost the war. The defeat in 1918 shattered Hitler completely. But here is what made everything worse. The German government signed the Treaty of Versailles, one of the harshest peace treaties in modern history. Germany was forced to accept full blame for the war, pay massive financial penalties, lose significant territory, reduce its military to almost nothing. The German people were humiliated, broken, starving. And into this broken nation stepped the politicians of hatred. They invented a story. They called it the stab in the back myth. The story was simple. Germany didn't really lose the war on the battlefield.
Germany was betrayed from within. And who were the traitors? The Jews, the communists, the weak politicians. This was a complete lie. But desperate, humiliated people wanted someone to blame. And Hitler, with his powerful voice and burning anger, gave them exactly what they wanted: a scapegoat.
Part 3. The Rise of Hitler and Nazi Ideology. In the 1920s, Germany was suffering from extreme economic collapse. People lost their life savings overnight. Unemployment was catastrophic. Families were starving on the streets. Hitler joined a small political party, which eventually became the Nazi Party. And he had a gift that very few leaders in history have possessed: the gift of manipulation through words. His speeches were electric, terrifying, hypnotic. He told Germans, "You are not weak. You are not failures. You are the greatest people on earth, but you have been betrayed by the Jews, by the communists, by the corrupt politicians." The message was simple. The enemy was clear, and the solution he offered was total. Part 4. Propaganda. Turning hatred into a movement. When Hitler came to power in 1933, he immediately understood one thing. To carry out his plan, he needed the entire German population to hate Jews. And for that, he needed propaganda. He appointed Joseph Goebbels as Minister of Propaganda. Goebbels controlled everything: newspapers, radio stations, films, posters, school textbooks. Jewish people were portrayed in movies and textbooks as rats, parasites, and criminals. Children grew up learning that Jews were the enemy. Anti-Jewish laws, called the Nuremberg Laws, were passed in 1935. Jews lost their citizenship. They could not marry non-Jews. They could not own businesses. They could not work in government. And then came Kristallnacht, the night of broken glass, in 1938. Jewish synagogues were burned. Jewish businesses were destroyed. Thousands of Jews were arrested. The world watched. And mostly, the world stayed silent. Part 5. The Holocaust. Hatred becomes genocide. When World War II began in 1939 and Germany started conquering Europe, the hatred reached its final, most horrifying form. In 1942, Nazi leaders met at the Wannsee Conference and formally decided on the final solution: the complete extermination of every Jewish person in Europe. Death camps were built: Auschwitz, Treblinka, Sobibor, Dachau. Millions of Jewish men, women, and children were transported in cattle cars. They were told they were being resettled. They were taken to gas chambers. 6 million Jews were murdered. 6 million human beings. Fathers, mothers, children, grandparents. Gone. Because of one man's irrational, burning, manufactured hatred. So, why did Hitler hate the Jews? The honest answer is, there was no rational reason. The hatred was built on lies, conspiracy theories, economic fear, national humiliation, and the oldest human tendency: blaming the other for your own suffering. Hitler didn't create anti-Semitism. He found a society that was broken, afraid, and angry, and he weaponized their fear. He took centuries of existing prejudice and turned it into industrial-scale murder. The Holocaust is not just a Jewish tragedy. It is a human tragedy. And its greatest lesson is this: hatred, when given power, has no limit. When we allow leaders to demonize any group of people, any religion, any race, any community, we are planting the seeds of future atrocities. The question is not just, why did Hitler hate the Jews? The real question is, are we paying attention today? Because history doesn't repeat itself automatically.
It repeats itself when people stop learning from it. If this video made you think, share it, because the story of the Holocaust must never be forgotten. Subscribe for more videos that explore the most important chapters of human history. See you in the next one.